ever had a gut feeling that saved you, or a nagging thought you should have listened to? We've all been there. What if those weren't just random thoughts, but powerful messages from your inner wisdom? This video will unlock the secrets to understanding and trusting those subtle nudges, guiding you towards a life led by your most authentic self. Intuition, often depicted as a lightning bolt of insight or a cryptic voice guiding us from within, remains a mysterious yet profoundly influential force in our lives. Unlike logic, which builds its case brick by brick, intuition operates in the realm of the subtle and the fleeting. It rarely shouts, more often it whispers, a gentle nudge, a persistent feeling, an image or word that lingers on the edge of consciousness. And yet, these delicate signals can shape destinies, steer us clear of dangers, and lead us, sometimes inexplicably, to opportunities we might otherwise overlook. But how do we learn to hear these whispers? How do we tell the difference between true intuition and the static of fear, fantasy, or wishful thinking? And how can trusting these unseen signals transform our lives? Let's explore the nature of intuitive experience, the forms it takes, practical techniques to distinguish its voice, and the transformative power of following the path it reveals. Intuition is not a monolith. It expresses itself through a spectrum of sensations and signs. Recognizing its various disguises is the first step in learning to heed its advice. Perhaps the most familiar expression of intuition is the gut feeling, that visceral sense of rightness or wrongness, often unaccompanied by rational explanation. Science suggests there is merit to the metaphor. The enteric nervous system, sometimes called the second brain, can process information and react to stimuli faster than conscious thought. A gut feeling may emerge as a tightening in the stomach, a sudden discomfort, or an inexplicable sense of ease, steering us toward or away from certain choices. Insights can strike without warning. A solution to a stubborn problem appears in a dream, a phrase leaps to mind in the shower, or a perfectly timed idea emerges just as it's needed. Unlike methodical reasoning, these insights seem to arise whole from the unconscious, often when the mind is relaxed and receptive. Creative professionals and scientists alike recount moments when breakthroughs arrive this way, as if plucked from the ether. Sometimes intuition manifests as patterns that repeat in our environment. A song that keeps playing, an animal that appears in dreams and waking life, numbers that recur, or serendipitous encounters that feel charged with meaning. These recurring symbols can serve as signposts, guiding us to pay attention to certain themes or decisions. One of the greatest challenges in following intuition is separating its quiet guidance from the louder voices of fear, anxiety, or desire. The mind is a crowded place, and not every inner message deserves equal trust. True intuition often arrives attached to a sense of calm or clarity, even in the face of uncertainty. In contrast, fear and wishful thinking tend to heighten emotional arousal. Racing thoughts, desperation, or dread. If a feeling is accompanied by panic or frantic urgency, it may be more reflective of anxiety than true guidance. Intuitive nudges may be subtle, but they are persistent. If a certain thought or feeling surfaces repeatedly, especially during moments of quiet or reflection, it may warrant more attention. In contrast, impulsive ideas, especially those triggered by recent events or strong emotions, may be less reliable. Consider the entrepreneur who, on the verge of signing a lucrative contract, is seized by a sudden unease. Despite having no logical reason to hesitate, due diligence checks out and the deal looks promising. Yet, they pause. Days later, new information surfaces that validates their misgivings, saving the company from a disastrous partnership. Similarly, artists and inventors often describe aha moments that defy explanation. Albert Einstein famously credited his imagination and intuition as more valuable than intellect. It was intuition that led him to the theory of relativity, the equations coming to him in a dreamlike state before being formalized by logic. Or how about the traveler setting out for a planned route, yet feels an inexplicable urge to delay their departure? Minutes later, news arrives of a major accident along their intended path. Stories like this abound. A parent who checks on a child at just the right moment. An investor who pulls out before a market crash. A person who feels drawn to call a friend in distress. Though such events can't always be scientifically verified, their frequency and our experience hints at the power of paying attention to subtle inner signals. Trusting intuition requires courage, especially in a society that often privileges logic and measurable outcomes. Doubt and skepticism can be healthy, tempering impulsiveness and guarding against self-deception, but they can also stifle our ability to act on genuine inner guidance. Learning to trust intuition involves embracing uncertainty. This doesn't mean abandoning logic, but rather recognizing intuition as a valid source of data, one that works in partnership with reason. As we gain experience acting on intuitive hunches and seeing positive results, our confidence in this inner compass grows. And there will inevitably be times when intuition and logic point in different directions. Perhaps every rational argument says go, but an inner sense says wait, or a creative urge defies conventional wisdom. Rather than viewing these moments as contradictions, we can see them as invitations to deeper inquiry. Listening to intuition is both an art and a discipline. It calls us to be attentive to the subtle, to trust in the unseen, and to integrate both head and heart in our decisions. In a world that often clamors for certainty and proof, the quiet wisdom of intuition offers a pathway to deeper self-understanding, creative living, and meaningful change. The invitation is always there. To pause, to listen, and to step quietly, bravely onto the path that is uniquely your own.